Good morning, everyone. I am bringing you this network update this morning on Saturday, April 27th. I'm going to try to keep it short. Probably can't, but I'm going to try to go for under 2 minutes here today. All right, just a couple of things that came across my desk that I thought might be interesting and useful to you this week. And the first of those is in regard to a directory listing. I don't know if you're aware that the Psychology Today directory is typically the #1 hit on a page whenever a person does a search for a counselor in their city. So this directory listing is a very important starting place for all of us. Came across this tip sheet that I think has really good ideas on it. I wanted to highlight just a couple of them. The first of them is that it may be tempting to check mark all of the issues that we're familiar with, all of the issues that we feel comfortable working with. The idea being that the more things we check, the more people we will attract to our listing. And in fact, that tends to have the opposite effect. When someone sees that we have 20 different specialties, quote unquote, listed, it tends to cause them to think that we know a little bit about a lot of things and not really much about anything. So I think it really is a better strategy to identify maybe 3, maybe 4 areas to call specialties to hone in on. Also, another thing has to do with a photograph. You know the cliche, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So you might have a couple of people that you trust take a look at your profile photograph and just give you some honest feedback about it. I do think that the photograph is the first thing that people look at, and so we want something that is both professional but also relatable. Okay, so I'm going to attach this tip sheet to the email, and so you'll be able to take a look at all of them, all of the tips. I think they're good ones, and given that Psychology Today profile is often the first thing that people see, I do think it's important to give that some good consideration. Okay, next on the list, speaking of searching the internet for therapy, this was a really interesting publication by Google. So what Google did was to compile the most common mental health concern topics that were Googled by people searching the internet across the United States. And they broke it down state by state. So you can take a look at your state for just a minute. I think it's very interesting, the difference in states and the topics. Here in Colorado, I'm not sure why, apparently we're not feeling enough sex drive. Low libido is the most common thing searched for. Interesting, in the state of New York, the most common search is financial stress. And in the state of Alaska, where they lose the sun in some places for 6 months at a time, the searches are seasonal affective disorder. Very interesting to consider as we are looking at our online presence. All right, then the final thing that I want to share with you would be this really interesting initiative. You may be aware of this. So Harry, Charles, and their spouses have joined forces and put together this foundation that they're calling Heads Together. really interesting organization. They're doing some very great things. Oprah Winfrey and Prince William will launch a documentary series in the fall. The whole purpose of this movement is to reduce the stigma around mental health and to help people be willing to talk about mental health concerns. Certainly some famous people that are partnering up here. There is a very interesting video with Catherine, William, and Harry engaged in about a 5-minute conversation that they videoed in regard to mental health issues. They have another series called There For Me, in which they are highlighting different mental health concerns using people being willing to share their story. So again, the organization is called Heads Together. I'm very sure you'll find it if you do a Google search. All right. I did want to let you know the final thing here. Oh, let me find it. Here it is. Okay. Harmony Foundation is an addiction treatment program here in Colorado that does really good work, but they have a free webinar coming up, the title of which is Helping Women in Partnerships Affected by Addiction. So I think that promises to be a pretty interesting webinar. It will be free. It is an hour long. It is on May 22nd. I can send you this link in the email that I send out to you. All right. I don't know if I made it under 2 minutes, but that is it for today. And I hope that you're all doing really well. Look forward to talking with you soon.